Fly, Fly is a really old song. Fly is probably one of the oldest songs, concept-wise at least, that I was working on for this particular batch of songs. I guess the melodies for the verse and the chorus, I came up with those separately. One of them was in July 2015 when I was working on my Evanescence Open Door cover project. I don't know, I had this little piano snippet that I was working with, and I was just kind of playing around, and I was like, well, let me write some lyrics and a melody to like go over this, and it was like 20 seconds long, but I ended up with that first line, fly away high above, solo of a caged bird, that thing, and the harmony that went with that. I created that then, and I liked it, and I wanted to flesh it out, but it never occurred to me to really work on it after that. So it actually sat around for about 9 months before I actually did anything else with it. The chorus was kind of the same way. I was like riding in the car, listening to the radio, and I mean, I think it had a little bit of a different tempo, but I pretty much ended up with that chorus melody. And there again, like I called it Tuesday Car Tune, and I just like put it away and didn't think about it again. February, March 2016 was a really, really busy time for me. Not anything to do with music. It had more to do with my schoolwork, and I was very, single-mindedly attacking 4 different science classes, and for some reason, the stress that I was under just ended up being the catalyst for my music writing to begin. The lyrics for Fly just kind of like came to me when I was trying to go to sleep. And I got up and I wrote them down, and it was the whole song, like all the lyrics for Fly were written kind of like at the same time. I don't know, I hadn't really thought about that song in a while, and it just kind of like popped into my head, and I was like, I gotta work on this. And at that point I did have, I had my keyboard, and I could just kind of start working on it. Fly is lyric-wise, I don't know, it kind of crawled out of my subconscious, and it was also one of the first songs that I ever penned and was proud of, and I wasn't trying to do it. So, and the lyrics, like I kind of look at them later and I was like, okay, I can read some meaning into this. Like, you've got this image of like a caged bird that dreams about flying, and it's not really clear whether whether she's actually able to escape and be free and fly or not. But it was kind of my breakout song. Like, this was the first time in my life where I had tried to write music and been successful. Like, I'd tried before. I had tried to write songs, and it just wasn't coming together. Like, I didn't have the inspiration. And, so all of a sudden, having this inspiration felt like being set free out of a cage, and finally being able to write. Song of the never-ending tide, song of the fragrant wind she rides, in dreams and fantasies. And for me, that's kind of what it had always been. Like, being an actual musician, being something more than a cover artist, had been like a dream, yeah, but I didn't really think that was something that I was ever going to be able to do. And the second verse kind of explains the frustration that I felt when I was in the past trying to write music and completely failing. Like, guess it was all a beautiful lie, chains lock the door to the sky until we dream and dream again. So, I don't know, it was just kind of, I'd been doing music pretty wholeheartedly for about 5 years before I was actually able to do it, but I never let the fact that I wasn't able to write on my own stop me from enjoying music and stop me from, keeping that dream alive, I guess. So finally being able to find my own voice is kind of what the song Fly is about. Music-wise, I wanted something that was very punchy. I wanted it to be a song that I could really get into, or remind me of songs that I really love, and just like that sound that I'm always looking for. Something really intense and something really driving, and that's what led me to end up with kind of that really pulsating bass. The bass that I used in that song, it's actually a pulsating patch, like that I just kind of like hammered on in the second octave, and it's really got a big sound. Like when you play it in a big room, or you play it coming out of an amp that's got good, handles bass well, it just sounds really big. Like it's one of those songs that it's difficult for me to play it in my apartment, because when I do, I feel like everybody can hear it because the bass is so loud. But I like that. I like loud. The verse piano I had for a long time before I wrote the chorus piano. The verse piano was written probably back in April, I want to say. And I don't know, I wanted something that would give it a little bit of depth, so it was a little bit more graceful and flowing. Basically what it was meant to be, and it was meant to build a little bit, so with the octaves on the left hand I can kind of give it a little more punch where I want it to, and then where it's going into the chorus after the second verse with both hands playing the eighth notes is kind of helps build it up. The chorus part of the piano was not written until October, which is after the EP version of the song had been recorded and was already a thing, and I just ended up taking the song and kind of reworking it in a way. Like I had in my mind how I wanted it to sound, but I didn't really have, it wasn't quite there. When I recorded in June, I didn't have a lot of time to do it, and I also had to finish writing the song and arranging it and everything, and so I didn't have time to make it into everything that I wanted it. So much of Fly was actually written way after the original release of the EP. Fly is a lot of fun. I like Fly a lot. I love the 3-part harmonies that are kind of like layered in throughout the song, and I like the fact that it's a 3-octave song. Like I actually was able to do that. The biggest challenge with Fly that it still kind of, it bothers me a little bit that, it was this difficult. The other tracks on the single, Beethoven and Resurrection, they were easy mixes. Fly had, I think I ended up with like 30 tracks. I don't know, just like the little sound effects that are in there and everything. Each one of those has its own track, and sometimes things are handled differently, and so it was daunting to look at to begin with. And the other thing about Fly was that bass is very, very low, and if you're depending on the monitors that you're listening to it through, it sounds different. It's actually a very it's kind of a staticky sounding bass. I had to make sure that was reduce the growl as much as possible to just give it kind of this like hypnotic numbing like sound to it. But it's also very low, and depending on what speakers you're listening to it through, it sounds overwhelming, or it sounds like too little, and like so it was driving me crazy. Like I was mixing on a monitor out loud, and it was like, okay, it sounds good, and then I put my headphones on and I'm like, I can't hear the bass. Like I can hear the bass, but right up until the very moment that I submitted the song to the stores, I was like, I want to tweak this, I want to tweak that, I want to change everything. And I think that's just kind of like, it's kind of my baby. It's like, I think it's a good song, and I want it to be like absolutely the best, and I want it to have everything going for it that it possibly can. So I don't know, I'm probably going to continue to be nitpicky about that song, but it was a challenge, but I feel proud of myself for having done it and finally having this out there. So if you would like to check out the single, that would be great. I would really appreciate that. You can pre-order it right now on my Bandcamp. The link will be in the description, and you will also be able to download it from iTunes, Amazon Music, get it on Spotify, and basically anywhere else where digital music is streamed or sold, starting on January 1st, 2017. As I get pre-order information available, I'll be posting that to my Facebook, so that's the best way to stay up on that, and also on my website. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out the single, and I'll see you in my next video.